Hey guys, welcome back to art class with me. If you've had me before, and if you haven't had me before, my name is Miss Bruss and I am your art teacher at Mitchell School. So I'm going to be showing you guys some of the projects that you can do in the packets that you received. So until you guys get your tablets and we're doing synchronous learning, which means we're doing like live videos with each other, you guys have packets with a few different art projects that you can do. You don't need to follow my videos, but I thought it would be kind of nice to include them so you have something to go off of. So I'm going to show you how to do our project that's in the packet about the artist named Mr.Doodle. Mr.Doodle is an artist who is from England, and he loves to draw and doodle lots of pictures. The word doodle kind of means like when you do a bunch of like small, quick little drawings, you usually don't spend a ton of time doing it. You might spend a lot of time drawing a lot of different doodles, but one doodle doesn't usually take too long. You're just kind of drawing whatever pops into your head. And Mr. Doodle loves to draw lots of little pictures and things. He loves to draw on walls and on furniture. He actually says that his drawings, he likes to think of them almost like a virus, which is something that's kind of relevant to today, right? Because that's why we're doing our virtual teaching. As you know, coronavirus is something that kind of spreads, right? Well, Mr. Doodle likes to think of his drawings as like something that will spread like a virus, but not in a bad way, in a way that's kind of cool and exciting because it's art. As you can see, there's so many shapes and patterns and things. He just does whatever. He might draw a businessman holding a briefcase, or a puppy holding a bone, or he might draw some hearts or some squiggles or some dots. He does all sorts of things and he just keeps going, and that's why he thinks of his stuff as like a virus. It just keeps growing and growing. He also likes to call his art graffiti spaghetti, which I think is a really funny way to describe your art, but it also makes a lot of sense for his stuff. If you look at it from far away, it kind of does look like a bunch of noodles, right? So he likes to draw all these different patterns and shapes kind of spreading out over an entire room, furniture, all the surfaces, to kind of make it look more fun and exciting. So what we are going to do is you guys are going to pick some sort of object from your home, something that you think you can draw. I chose a vase with flowers, and you're going to draw that object. So I drew my vase and my flowers, and then inside all the big shapes you're going to be adding lots of little doodles and patterns and lots of things kind of like spreading out over the whole drawing. So I think that's kind of cool. The supplies you'll need is a piece of paper. I'm using just a regular 8.5 by 11. This is a project that you might spend a lot of time on, so I would not choose a huge paper for this to start with. And I have two different Sharpie markers, a thick and a thin one. If you don't have access to these supplies, you could use a black marker and a black color pencil, or a black marker and a pen, or a crayon. Just try to get two different size black drawing materials for this project. It just makes it a little bit easier. And once you have your supplies, we can go ahead and get started. Alright, so just like Mr. Doodle, we're going to pick an object. Pick something in your house that you think you can draw, and you're going to draw it big on your paper. So I started by drawing a big vase with 3 flowers inside. This time, what I'm going to draw, instead of a vase with flowers, I'm going to draw one of my potted plants that I actually have at home. It's one of my favorite plants, so I'm going to start by drawing that. Remember, like I always show you guys, think about easy shapes and lines that you can do. So when I look at my plant, the planter is kind of like a big letter U with a straight line on top. I picked a shape and a plant that to me looked easy to draw. And I just like my lines to be a little thicker, so after I draw each of them, I'm going to make them a little bit thicker and just fill them in. Alright, and then on the bottom of my planter it has little feet, so I'm going to make it a little simple by just doing 2 curved lines underneath. I'm not going to make the feet look exactly the same. So 2 curved lines. And now I'm gonna draw the leaves of my plant. For the leaves of my plant, my plant here is called a spider plant. It has these long curved lines that go over, and then they touch at the end so they're pointy. So remember, guys, to just look at those shapes and think, how could I draw that shape to look like the object? You know, does it have curved lines? Does it have straight lines? Does it have zigzag lines? And take your time to draw out the big shape of your object. All right, I got my leaves drawn, I have my planter drawn, I have the basic shape done. Now what I get to do is I get to go in and add fun details. The first thing I want to add is a face on my planter because Mr. Doodle loves to add faces to things. I think for this face, I'm gonna do something similar to the vase. I'm gonna do 2 big circles with a little circle inside. I'm gonna give it a nose and a smile. You could make your object have any sort of emotion. It could be angry, happy, sad, whatever you feel like. And on this one, I have my 3 flowers and they also each have a face. I think I'm gonna actually give a face to some of these little leaves from my spider plant. All right, so I have a few faces on my leaves. I'm gonna put away my Sharpie now. If you're using a black marker, you can put it away, or you could keep using it if you don't have a different supply. Now I'm gonna use my skinny Sharpie and I'm gonna start drawing all sorts of different shapes. What I want to do is I want to fill up these big shapes with tons of little shapes and designs and patterns to make it really fun. When Mr. Doodle draws, he thinks like, okay, I'm gonna draw a sun here. He'll draw his circle and his rectangles for the little rays. And then right away he goes to the next thing. Okay, I'm gonna draw a cloud here, real close. Kind of filling in the space. In between the ray, I'm gonna draw a zigzag. Maybe some dots. Maybe over here, I'm going to draw a little kitty cat face. And the kitty cat is going to be angry. See how quickly I'm drawing? I'm not taking a ton of time to think. And some of my shapes are real things like the cat and some are just blobs. That's the fun of drawing like Mr. Doodle. You can really do whatever you want. You can even do some silly stuff. Like in here, I did a mouse and some cheese. I did a monster over here. I did this little guy with the arms. I thought he was kind of funny. But you're just going to take your time filling it up with tons of different shapes, and they can be shaped like a real thing or they can just be random shapes. But go ahead and have fun, you guys. Alright, so now that I'm finished drawing all my doodles, which should be the thing that you spend the longest on, it's probably going to take most, if not all of your time. If you're done with it, you can just leave it this way because Mr. Doodle actually doesn't color in his pictures, he leaves them all black and white. However, if you'd like to color it in, you could do like one of these, like simply choose 1 or 2 colors and color like one of the main objects one color and the other one different. I'm going to leave this one black and white because I actually kind of like it the way that it is. I like the 2 different styles. But you guys can choose to color it in or leave it blank. It's totally up to you. Alright guys, I hope you had fun drawing your Mr. Doodle inspired pictures. I really liked doing both of these. If you made one, I would love to see what you did. Now for these first couple lessons are asynchronous lessons. You do not need to show me the examples of what you did, but if you would like to, I would be happy to see it. Either send it to me through Seesaw or Google Classroom, whichever one your class is a part of. If you're not one of my students, you could also send it to my email or the Facebook page, which is linked in the description. But if you are one of my students, please make sure you are uploading your work to either Google Classroom or Seesaw so that I can see it and I can know that you did your work. But I hope you guys had fun with this one, and I will have a few more videos for our other asynchronous lessons on my YouTube channel. Bye!